Tom's Tourney is live and on your screens, bringing you all the action back into Open 1 Division. Group D, some have said the group of death. A hard-fought battle here, set to be underway. The Belgian under-24 national team that have been phenomenal so far this tournament, taking on Bristol, who are swinging to get their second win. I'm Stefan Rapazzo, bringing you the action alongside Amelia Durbin. Derbs, welcome to the booth. You are playing with the GB Masters, and now you are here bringing the action. You are a Bristoler, a Bristolite. What is somebody from Bristol called?
Bristolian.
A Bristolian. You'll know a lot about this game. How are you, and what are you excited about?
I'm very well. Just ran here from my game, so a little bit sweaty. Had to miss a spirit circle, unfortunately.
I'm pretty sure I know what they were going to say.
And yeah, I'm really excited. I think Bristol are bringing a slightly newer roster this year. They've picked up some players from university and from across the southwest that have moved into the Bristol area. And so this is going to be a tough matchup for them, but I think they're looking forward to it. Yeah, you got to be looking forward to these ones when you get to play up, so to speak. And Bristol opens up on the attack. Defense swipe by Richardson, then moves over to the near sideline, finds a seam in the middle. That one to Hughes and dumped back quick. Near sideline finds Yu. And Yu goes back central. Hughes working it around. Mason. Belgian zone in the low throw. Generates a turn. Yeah, I think the 38 shirt there is actually James Sully wearing Jack Hughes' shirt, but unfortunately Sully there could not connect. De Ritter starts the counter-attack, finds the 17 shirt of Betrancourt, and then all the way around. Fired forward and then chipped in with a chisel. De Ritter again, but he throws into traffic, and that generates a turn back, 2 in the first point. Yeah, an uncharacteristic turn from this Belgium side. Having watched them on the stream just 2 days ago, they were very, very clinical, but an early mistake for Bropen to be able to get their offensive hold in. Hughes, is that Sully you said wearing the Hughes jersey? Correct, yeah, on the disc now. Okay, Sully it is. Over to Mason, Mason fakes, and back to Sully. Far sideline, gets a clap out of Jeffrey. And back into the middle. Eddie Mason opens the arm. And almost a trip, but gets the catch. Will Jeffrey and Bristol hold on the first point after a couple of turns. That's a nice hold from Bropen. Going to settle their nerves a little bit. Eddie Mason with the assist. My housemate, may I say, shout out. Both of my housemates are on this team. Dom Knight, the captain. To Will Jeffrey, whose sister is playing with me on the GB Masters side. So it's a big family affair here. Derbs in the middle of it all. You see it here. We've been practicing these flick hucks, even though it's a backhand. Oops. Been practicing those in the park. Will did a really good job there. Jeffrey, even with the stumble, just able to pick it up. Jeffrey, not on the U24 cycle this year for GB, and some would say that was an uncharacteristic not pick. A snub. A snub, you could say. Would you call it a snub, would you? A snub, yeah. At Southampton Uni, working in Bristol on a placement year at the moment, so really, really great to get that young player some club opportunity to come here to the lovely Tom's. Is Bristol a city in the region of Southampton? Is that how that works? No, or is Southampton another city that's nearby? No, far away. Okay. I think in the UK, or maybe in other countries when you are at uni, sometimes you do a placement year where you move to another city and work for a year. And so Southampton's on the coast, almost the same coast as London-ish, not at all, but vaguely, and Bristol's higher than that. There's the pull. And we'll get another look at the Belgian under-24s with their O-line on. Boumalal. And slow to develop. Good defense out of Bristol. Gianat. And now Landa de Kran gets that one out. Far sideline and back in Lander. Low throw, connects Oosterlink. Good to see him back out after jamming his finger in the opening game. Gernot to Lander, and he sees his brother Toby going deep and is happy to shoot it. Connects there. Toby goes around, high take, and the goal for Belgian under 24.
Yeah, Toby de Crane is a tough matchup to pull on the line. Mason did a good job, as we see Gatewood Wolf there, an American this year, playing from California at university in Bristol this year, doing a master's or a PhD, one of the two. Close but not close enough. You see it here. Mason tries to go around, can't. De Crane just super patient, finds a window at the back, and a goal for Belgium U24. Interesting point to say, I wonder if, because if Gatewood Wolf, or Gabe as we know him, wasn't wearing the pyjamas, would they have got the D? That's a question for you.
Pardon me?
Gabe, or as we call him, likes to wear pyjamas to play Frisbee, which in the Southwest at the moment, and maybe in the ultimate scene in the UK, is incredibly popular. It's kind of like the new fashion. I despise it.
Yeah, I despise it too. Get that out of here. Change your fashion tastes southwest of the UK. I couldn't even identify the southwest of the UK if, Sam Murphy here sarcastically saying good geography knowledge, Steph. Thanks, Smurf.
I think mine was particularly bad when I said Southampton and London were on the same coast, because London's not on the coast.
Yeah, get those.
Turnover there from Barrett, just tosses it to Mason, can't connect.
Uh-oh. Early turn, and Gernot picking up, and this could be a result of wearing pajamas to play. De Crane. The brothers try to isolate, and they do. What a throw. Lander just waits it out. How many times have those two thrown to one another? You know, that's kind of backyard stuff, just waiting out the defense. Where's the defender's eyes? Okay, I'll put it the other way, and leads in for the goal. Here comes the break train for this powerhouse under 24 side.
Yeah, they are really a dominant force, hoping to do well at the U24 World Championships later this year. What I will say is sometimes, you'll hear teams bark about having really disciplined end zone offense and making sure that you're making clear cuts. Sometimes just sticking onto someone and just hoping that they're going to get free in a small space can also be pretty powerful. As we see it again, Lander just locks eyes, does not look for anyone else, and almost it's just the window.
He did get low and around, but what I like most is he just stayed in his pivot, kept that mark moving, and, bounced him from one side to the other. And as soon as he had him moving, he was able to come back in, a little swoop back in on his last pivot when he knew he was going to throw, and gave himself the perfect line for that inside-out backhand.
Big pull going up from Belgium. Pajamas fielded behind the back, rolls out the back, going to be walked to the front. Is it roll?
Wait, what's that guy's name in the pajamas?
Gatewood Wolf. We know him as Gabe. It's going to be very strange for me calling all of my friends by their last names, but I'll do my best.
You're going to have to, Durbin.
I'm going to do it.
And our discussion of whether that landed out and rolled, or landed in and rolled, or landed out on the full, is that it, or is it it's whether he touched it? I think that's got to be the discussion. Because if he did touch it, he's got to play it from the back of the end zone where it rolled out. He contests that he touched it. I guess he would know.
I have never seen that before in my life. And I've been playing for 10 years. I've never seen a contested pull.
Or are they talking about offside? I've never seen this either.
I don't think I have seen not a single offside. I think what's happened is Gabe is contesting that he touched the disc.
And now the only result is a repull. Unbelievable. Have you guys seen that in the chat?
That's a big
And have you seen it called by somebody wearing pajama bottoms? Then definitely not.
Yeah, maybe in the chat you could give us your thoughts on what you think of pajamas, because perhaps if the youth find out that people don't like them, they will stop wearing them.
I mean, yes, in the chat, Smurf thinks the disc touched the pajamas. And a bobble again from pajamas. There's only one thing to do. Put shorts on. And Bristol in the backfield. Schlitz to Gabe. Gatewood Wolf. And again, Gatewood Wolf. He looks off Schlitz and goes over to Dom Knight. Knight fires! Sends deep. This one hanging. Bristol, the bigger body. And De Ridder does a job to get the simultaneous catch, but I think that's going to probably go the way of Bristol. Sam Cameron would not have been outright second on that.
Yeah, no, as we know, if you catch the disc at the same time, we can see it here in the slow-mo. I think, if anything, Sam might actually have that first. Sam Cameron just off the GB Open cycle in Australia. As we see Cameron staying with the disc in hand just on the front of the end zone line. A turnover being called, which is interesting. We see it again, a really nice flick throw from Knight. Sam has a good read the whole way. Cameron gets up early. Oh, potentially, actually, maybe it is De Ridder.
Belgium making things work behind the disc. Nice under from Betancourt. Leads to the far side. Takan sends deep, hits, and the long jump, long step was enough to go over the line and to cash one in for the Belgians. They are charging now.
Yeah, and realistically, we're not surprised. This Belgium side is incredible, and they've got some great names. A lot of players that I was absolutely shocked were still on the U24 side. De Crane being one of them, Sofiane Bontom from obviously Mooncatchers, and even Lander. De Crane with the Lander, known to me as being the older brother of De Crane, but the fact that he's older and still U24 eligible is shocking to me. I think that the Belgian side in years to come is going to be a real threat, specifically watching their U20 women's side.
And the U20 boys played this morning, and they were very sharp too. They fell to Malmo on Universe Point. Great game. But that's an under 20 junior side playing against a open adult side of Malmo, albeit that Malmo side did have a lot of youth as part of their program too. But for a absolute, restricted by regulation junior team to take them that deep, a great show of what's in store for the future of Belgian Ultimate.
Yeah, absolutely. It feels like the European teams are really starting to bring the juniors to these tournaments and get them experience, and it is paying off. Great pull, lands in, rolls out, but will be taken to the front of the end zone line by you. I'm not surprised to see Belgium doing its own.
Bristol behind the disc in their own end zone, trying to find a way out. Mason, or that's Sully rather. Over to the far side. And through the middle to Hughes. Hughes kicks out to the sideline. Backhand in the middle, Hughes. Mason again. Gets the upline cut. Wants the hammer. Motions for it, but doesn't give. And then fires, but missed the target, and the defense knocks it away.
Yeah, the transition from zone to match then by Belgium just clearly stifled Bropen's flow and not able to find a receiver free enough and has to put a high one up.
And given back to Bristol very quickly. In the middle, Bristol throws to the far sideline. Mason opens the arm. That one looks like it will land. It does not, though. Touches the fingers of Will Jeffrey, but he can't close them.
Will clearly a bit of a deep threat this year, just kind of being sat off deep and able to catch it, but just bounces off the fingertips. Maybe just felt the body on the back. I'm almost sad that Belgium are doing a zone. It's obviously the smart move to save the legs, but it would be nice to see these two players, these two teams go head-to-head on a foot race.
I'm sure we'll get some of it. I don't think they'll rest zone the whole game, but who am I to know? Bontemps gets it in the middle of the field. Good sequence to get the disc there. A cross too high for Taquin. And they've given it back to Bristol. Fair few turnovers early in this game.
Yeah, Bristol going to be happy with this. Not necessarily forcing them themselves, but a turn is a turn, and just if they can capitalize.
Low backhand release. Goes inside. That's a nice throw. Sully pops one out. Mason throws too high, and Taquin will be able to gobble up the scraps on it. Sent to the middle to Ritter. To Taquin, he throws a blade. Well handled by Betrancourt, who bombs it. A bit too fast, a bit too low for Raven Prot.
This point's getting a little bit sloppy. For those watching at home, it's been very, very flat here over the last couple of days, but I suppose in this last 10 minutes, the wind has just picked up ever so slightly, but not dramatically at all. But clearly just putting players off their groove a little bit. An uncharacteristic high throw from Mason, and then a bit of a weird huck to go downfield that was swatted away. See what Bropen can do now.
Too high and given right back. Now a short field. Bomb to the other side. Betrancourt saves the day. The throw from Rogisart. But it was Betrancourt who really pulled that one together, getting up in the end zone and pulling down a goal.
Yeah, 4-1 here. Bropen just with one hold. Needs to start putting their D-line out there to be able to recover. Just hoping they're not feeling too deflated. Sometimes you got to know and respect your opposition. Bropen are a good side. We know that they can defeat good teams. This time last year, I think it was almost, 365 to the day where they took down La Fotta.
La Fotta, yes.
Which everyone was, a bit of a historic win.
Yeah, but they can't, rest on their laurels and make that their only big win. They got to keep swinging.
Absolutely.
Bropen, you call them. Bristol Open.
Bristol Open.
They go by Bropen.
Bropen is
a little
almost
bit of
the
Woosion.
nickname. Yes.
I like that.
You like a Woosion?
I love Wooge.
Yes, Bristol Open. Bropen, as they're lovingly called. They train twice a week in the city. Coached by Molly Wedge, Canadian World Games player and Great Britain World
Chris
player.
Allen, is he here? That's what they want to know. That's what
Yes,
Hoagie's
so Chris
asking.
Allen is here, but unfortunately broke his finger at a GB Beach trial and currently has a metal splint outside of his finger drilled into his bone.
Wow.
Because it broke it at the joint. So yeah, Chris Allen, as we know, is on the sideline kind of
It's
stepping
like
in,
a
supporting,
cyborg
coaching.
with that kind of an operation.
It's
He's
disgusting.
part robot.
It's not nice. But yeah, Bropen are missing a few kind of big players. They're kind of big shooters. Andrew Warnock and Chris Allen are two people that massively contribute to the team's success. But we know Bropen can play well, so let's see that they can start bringing their best out now.
And Knight going back and forth with Gatewood Wolf, who I did coach at the Deep Dish training camp, I suppose, down in Portugal not so long ago now. I'm recognizing I coached that boy for a short period. If only I could have coached him into putting better clothes on himself. Parnell and Gatewood Wolf around tonight. And far sideline. Into the dump space. Cameron to Capelli. He's got good hair. Cameron to Gatewood Wolf, who also cut his hair recently, isn't that right?
Correct, yeah, he used to have very, very long hair, now shorter.
And there, they worked so hard. They get in the red zone and then throw it to Toby. Toba's on the other team, let's be clear here. Gannat gets around. Vets goes to Cortu. Now Decran fires and hits on the money to Emil Willems.
It's so difficult in games like this for a team like Bristol to maintain their positive attitude. It's really, really difficult going up against a big team that is kind of the one that is likely going to beat you, but how much is kind of up to you to control. It's just what Bropen can do to recover now, because actually their mistakes are all of their own. Their mistakes are not what Belgium is forcing them to do. They're obviously forcing them to take lots of passes, but they're not sticking a hand in there and getting big Ds. And on the defense, it's almost like they're trailing and always one step behind. And I think that comes from attitude of, no matter what the score is, being able to bring some fire.
Fire.
And there's some big...
Look at this throw by Toba. I mean, I lovingly and jokingly have said now that Toby can throw, and you know he can throw. He's grown up. He's a second-generation player, but because his athleticism was so off the charts for so long, that's what everybody kind of noticed first. He could get up, he could lay out, he could defend, and he could throw all the while. But now his throws are, I guess, just fearless. There's no hesitation. He sees them happen before he distributes, and wow, he can really beat you with disc in hand, and that makes him a very versatile weapon.
Yeah, I was talking to some of my teammates when the Italy U24 side and the Belgium U24 side stream was on Wednesday night, saying how I would really not like to play in the Open Division because the throwing arsenal is so much broader for a bigger number of people on the team. And realistically, how can you defend everything if the break side huck is on, but also the open side flick blade to the far corner is also on? There's only so much that you can take away.
I mean, it facilitates offensive efficiency in the game, which is not a bad thing. We like scores. But you're right, it makes it heck for a defender to try and believe in themselves to be able to do their job when they're always exposed. But that's the case. You're always giving up something when you take something away. And the greater range of throwing arsenal across the board just exposes that you're giving up every time. But I love that there's defensive dynamics that are working at their best to counter. This one goes for goal. Bit high, second effort. The run on by Oosterlink. And 6-1 now. Belgium are getting the bounces because they're playing so well.
Yeah, they're really starting to put the foot on the gas pedal. But again, the mistakes that are coming from Bropen are literally all of their own. It's just a point of, I don't know, pride, ownership, accountability, being able to say, no, I'm going to stop throwing this turnover. We see it here, just a little bit too fast. Not able to keep a hand of it is Porter. And then here, there's a fantastic D in the air. Gets pressure, but just runs it down. And there's only so much you can do about that. But we've got a timeout being called here on the field now, and I'm not surprised to see that.
Well, while you guys have time to hit that like button, subscribe, and do all the good things, we'll end up taking a very short break here. And we'll be back to you with more action after these words. We live in a world where everything can be referenced online. Imagine if the greatest moments in our sport were never filmed. Eurodisc continues to do what it takes to make free-to-watch live streams a reality. Let's leave nothing to the imagination. We'll consume the action live, and we'll support those that help to make it happen. If it wasn't streamed, it didn't happen. Eurodisc.
What a grab! Oh my God! Somehow they do it!
Six-one Belgium under 24 looking the goods right now. Bristol Open looking for ways into the end zone. Sauf bon temps. That was a nice, I think Hoagie said nice Sally in the end zone, and it was like a missed disc flip. Bon temps just had one there casually, gave it like a slap flip and caught it with ease. Bon temps, a rising star. We'll see him playing over in the U.S. later this year, going to Chicago to play a little bit for the Union, but probably more so invested into the machine project.
Good intel.
Dom Knight, far side. And they've irked their way out of the end zone, but they've given it up almost at the same time. Bon temps to De Ritter. De Ritter back to Bon temps. Finds a seam and hits in the middle. Betrancourt for the goal. 7-1. That break train just keeps rolling for this superpower Belgian under 24 team.
Yeah. A difficult game for Bristol Open. And we could talk about the Belgian side all day. They've got some star players. I think that they will very, very likely be in that final at the U24 World Championships like they were 3 years ago? Just over 3 years ago. But some stars of the future on Bropen. They have got a large group of people that are at university. So some names that we probably haven't necessarily seen yet or been able to talk about on the stream. But Oscar Ellis, number 41 shirt, still at university at Bristol, which I coach sometimes. A really great young and up-and-coming player.
Well, they've definitely got that final circled. They want that gold medal. But there are plenty that will be believing in themselves as well. The Italians we saw the other night, they are no slouch at all. That game could have gone either way. I think that Italy was the better team on the night as well. And a little bit of star power helped Belgium in the late points get over the hump. Of course, the U.S., but there's going to be lots. You can't count Canada and Australia or whatever. You never know what you're going to get with Japanese teams. And there's always going to be a surprise or two in there that you just had no idea. And they're coming out strong. So I can't wait for Under 24. It's one of my favorite tournaments. But this one here, Tom's, one of my favorite tournaments in the world.
The tournament of the year.
An independent tournament, of course. The Under 24 is a sanctioned Wolfduff event. I love the independents. Bristol, Sully, and De Ritter. I mean, he threw it right into him and made it easy to make that D.
Yeah, I think Sully just kind of really looking to try and gain positive yards and just kind of threw straight into a defender. It happens.
De Ritter around, Bontemps in the end zone. And Belgium are taking half. It's 8-1. It is pure dominance at this stage as that break train just keeps chugging along.
Chugging along, it does. I'm not really sure what Bropen can do differently. Maybe just pull out of their structures and systems and just try something new. Something's got to give, something's got to change. What they're doing at the moment isn't working. Their execution is poor. However, whatever they do, they've got to try and enjoy it because there's a lot more Frisbee left. I think if you go down hard to a team where you lose maybe 15-6, 15-5, 15-1, 15-0, whatever it ends up being, how you respond afterwards is the most important thing. Maybe they're kind of wishing they just want to get this game over and done with. But they're coming out on defense now. We've not seen their defense since the second point of the game about half an hour ago. So this could be the moment where they get some momentum and they get some spice.
Yeah, let's hope so. They're going to need a little bit of momentum. They're going to need a whole lot of momentum. You see the sidelines have filled up for this one. Of course, we're in Belgium here, and the Belgians are out to see their team. Sticking it, of course, there's the best-looking people in the house there at the tail end of that shot, Derbs. There we are. Hello, everybody back home. Nice to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button. Watch how easy. You just go like this and here, and boom. You hit the like button. You can do it, too. Go on.
It's a really nice side profile of my nose there.
Yeah, you look fabulous,
Thank
Derbs.
you so
fabulous
much.
side profile.
Mwah.
8-1. 30 minutes in, we're going to get a jingle here for the halftime, but it doesn't matter. We've taken ours on this field.
Knight with the pull, known for his very, very good pull, so hopefully he's able to put on a show for the stream.
It's a medium pull.
Yeah, it was like a 6.
Boumalal to Ganat. Ganat shakes and says, okay, if they're going to leave him that open, I got to take him. Boumalal to Ganat. Dukran. All the way around to Vilega, and an error there gives Bristol a chance.
And an error from their superstar, Dukran.
A little low for sure. The throw was not perfect. Gets that one inside to Cameron. Now Gatewood Wolf leads and hits. And Bristol come out and break to open up the second half.
That's a Bristol Uni connection there. Gatewood Wolf and Ellis, both at Bristol University, maybe in their final years. I'm going to say I taught them that. I definitely didn't. But yeah, a little bit of a Bristol Uni connection there. Shout out to all those players watching at home. And that is a break. That's the energy you need. And you can still, they're still feeling a bit sleepy or a bit sad about how things are going, because even with the break, the celebration was pretty flat. But, you know, go and do it again.
Yeah, I mean, get her going, keep her going. You know, sometimes you require a little bit of an imperfection to give you the opportunity. It's another one, Oscar Ellis. He was down there in Portugal.
He was, yeah. There was a big group of them. A couple of them are on the Bristol
There's
women's
a whole
side.
bunch. The more I'm watching these players, I was like, oh yeah, I recognize you, I recognize you, I recognize you. I did a little bit of coaching.
I think there was a team from Sweden that were on the stream just last, or Switzerland, and they had a group of U20, a group of the Bristol girls on it as well.
Ah, nice.
Also, I'm not sure if we'll be able to get a shot of it because we're looking at Eddie Mason, my housemate, with the pull. But over there is 2 very young boys playing Frisbee who are probably no older than 7, and their throws are incredibly good. And that is the future of Belgian Ultimate.
Yeah, they get the Frisbees shirts on. They know what they're doing. They've been taught by people who have been taught. Dukran fires for Dukran, and Dukran connect again. What are you going to do to stop that fraternal connection? Not much available.
They play so well together, it's almost like they're twins, but they're not.
No, Lander the elder.
And am I right in saying there is another one?
Yep, we watched him this morning. He was on the live stream this morning. Staff Dukran. And now everything's going back to this Portugal trip because Staff and Lander were there coaching with us. So that, you know, Lander playing against these guys was coaching many of them down there too. So they've and we did have Staff versus Campers game where Lander was quite used to giving a beat down to them down there, and he's kind of doing a bit more of the same.
What was the score?
Well, they stayed in it once. There was one of the games that went to Universe, but the one that Lander was there was not.
No.
We beat them by a whole lot. The coaches beat the students, I don't know, like a couple million to 0 or something. it was tough for them.
Well, I'm sure they'll remember it fondly for years to come.
Oh, yeah.
Just hear the 5 minutes left bell being called over the Tannoy system. 9-2. Oh, no, it's not halftime. So sorry, that must be the halftime jingle, not the full-time jingle.
But we're already
There's too many
it.
jingles. I'm losing track.
Jingle this, jingle that. Gatewood Wolf in the backfield, and now Cameron. Bristol getting through the hands, but going the wrong way a little bit. Some forward momentum, Parnell. In the middle to Mason, and now to Cameron. Deep shot goes, and it's only a defender there, and DeRitter says, I'm not going to bother catching this.
I'll let one of the handlers get to it and make sure we're well set up for the play.
Yeah, it was a nice throw by Cameron. I don't know if we'll see it in the replay, but Knight just really pulls out of that cup, kind of had separation, but just wanted to come under almost exactly as Cameron released it, and just not a Bristol player in sight.
Betrancourt isolates to Ritter and then turns away and looks upfield. Tacan in the backfield. He goes to Rogissart and Betrancourt to De Ritter. Rogissart. Far sideline to Bontemps. Bontemps. And the under 24 is taking their time until that trigger pull. Betrancourt under it and takes it. And that leaves a wide open Rogissart. And the Belgians put double digits up in the 35th minute of action.
Yeah, they're just really, really clinical with the options that they're taking, but also not clinical in a very conservative way. They're clinical with very hard shots. Realistically, to throw a flick into the end zone from this nearest sideline, maybe 3 or 4 meters into the wind, is actually quite difficult, and they make it look really easy. You see a bit of a phantom D attempt here. Can't see it, blinds it, goes up early, and just able to snap it down. And just to shoot it across. Unsure which one they were aiming for, but if there's 2 players there, it doesn't really matter.
Question from Wim in the chat. Are Bristol doing alternate lines rather than O and D? And it was answered as yes. Is that about right? Are they?
So at the moment they're split into 2 lines, one called Voldemort and one called Blue. Now, I believe that the blue line is leaning more defensively and the Voldemort line is more offensively, but I don't know whether they're doing that in other games. Potentially for this game, they're just doing 1 line on, 1 line off.
Voldemort and then Blue?
So Voldemort is obviously Voldemort.
Yeah.
Blue, I think, is something from The Office.
Okay. I'd like some consistency with those lines. Like, give me some Voldemort and Harry Potter or something else that goes with it. I think that's a big part of their problem is the lack of consistency in naming.
There's a big rivalry between the 2 lines as well.
Well, that is normal. There should be that inter-team rivalry, in my humble opinion.
So we've had it informed that this is the Voldemort line, which means that Voldemort and Blue are 1 apiece for the goals.
And the deep shot goes, trying to beat Toby DeCran. And they do get beyond him. Love the half spike. Sully lets it go behind his back, and then the air spike. I do love that finish. But big take. Toby went up early. Even in going up early, it's still hard to come down with those. You get blinded. Especially if you know who's in front of you, you know it's Toby, you start to think, okay, there's no way I'm going to get it above Toby, but he goes up early. Sully stays with it and comes down with the goods in 2 hands. Well done, good concentration.
Yeah, Sully does a good job there of holding his line and going up straight. You see him very happy. Sully's a big Frisbee Keno, so I imagine that will be showing itself on an Instagram reel sometime coming to you.
Keno, we're all keen Frisbee types around here, and as good keen Frisbee types, it's our civic duty to hit that like button and get on over there, subscribe. We've gone over 28,000 subscribers now, building a wonderful audience for all the ultimate we're able to bring to your eyeballs. So yeah, follow my prompts for these calls to action and you're going to get more ultimate coming to your eyeballs.
Steph, just to update you, as I know that you're a fan from what's going on around the rest of the stadium, the rest of the field, is that Clapham are up 8-5 on Isno Good.
Okay, that's
live scores coming in clutch here.
Clapham and Isno have a wonderful history of tight games at Tom's. Big throw in for the goal. And Belgium are really running away with this. Emil Willems, another goal reception to his name. And an 8-point lead now for the home team.
Bropen have had a couple of goals now that's clearly boosted their morale, but kind of being hammered into the ground by this Belgium side. Anything that they can do, Belgium are saying that they can do better, as we see a beautiful shot going up. Sits super low, leads it out. Knight can't really get a read on it at all. Defender always had the trailing end of that. Lots of people are here to join in and watch. We see the sideline there.
Yeah, it's really filled up. I mean, this near sideline even more so with the shade, but you see friends and family and supporters on both sidelines enduring the sun. It's a lot milder than yesterday. Yesterday was a scorcher here in Belgium, in Bruges. Today is sunny and clear sky, but not as direct. There's a little bit of cloud cover, a little bit.
Yeah, today is not so much a sun. Obviously, stay safe, stay sun cream. But yesterday was sun cream every 10 minutes, especially if you're playing. Barrett lost the disc in the end zone. It's behind you. Located it. Barrett also at the deep dish tour.
He was there at Frisbee. He won the pulling competition.
Incredible. From University, the University of West England, a university in Bristol. Graduated last year and is now, I believe, a teaching assistant.
All right.
Living in Gloucester.
Yu takes the disc. He goes to Richardson. And back to Yu. Underneath for Jeffrey. Shovels one forward to Sully. Yu. Low, nice layout to keep the possession alive. Give and go on the sideline. Has Sully looking back into this zone, which we've seen so much of in this game. Richardson. To Sully. Sully leads, the mid came late, and the throw to score broken up at the last point of offer. Aaron Villega gets in the way, chucks his body on the line, beautiful bid. And Belgium under 24 will get the disc once again.
Some good defense from Bropen here.
Cannot gets. Goes inside, Vets. De Kran, quick movement by the Belgians. All the way to Gannat, quickly moved to Toba de Kran. Toba leads to the end zone, perfect spot for the goal. Emil Willems, another goal. Belgium up to 12 in 43 minutes right now. They are motoring along right now.
Yeah, so good from De Crane there. Just going to give De Crane a little bit of a shout out. De Crane makes his own gym programs, a PT. I am one of his clients, and what I will say is it has made me feel incredibly strong, fit and fast, and watching De Crane there, clearly following his own program and really able to absolutely motor. Just a bit of a pest on the field. Can play in the small space, can play in the big place, can play in the handler, can play downfield. De Crane would not be, in my opinion, not a shout to be a European Player of the Year this year when it comes to later in the season. Always kind of been snubbed by Mikhail and Di Marie, and I think Tobe is really starting to make a name for himself to be one of that big trio that can push the best players to show their best too.
I think all Tobe's got to do to be in that conversation is play in Europe more.
That'll do it.
He is there. He's just spends a lot of his time. He's committed to his American teams that he is committed to. He's decided on the Boston Glory and Boston Dig, and that keeps him overseas for so much of the season. This year he'll come back because of the national team duties, but otherwise he is there, and he'll likely only be back for EUCF, possibly a lead invite, but I have my doubts. Gatewood Wolf Fires into the middle and gets it out of the end zone. Dom Knight gets it forward again. Gatewood Wolf opens the arm. That looks good, but his receiver got turned around there. And tough going in the end zone. Totally spun around for Bristol Open.
That's a really good option to a very, very free player, but clearly just loses it, and the whiff is enough to just swat it away. It's a good D, considering they went in almost blind.
So Belgium again, Taquin to Bontemps. Bontemps has nothing at a mid-stall count, but gets to Ritter, who I must say has been an incredible reset handler throughout the last game and all of this one. Very reliable, quick to get open in any space, and a very safe thrower. Now that I say that, let's see what happens. Bontemps to De Ritter. De Ritter all the way across, and there a mishandled disc and a drop for Louis Dowens. Gatewood Wolf walks to the disc. On the doorstep, Cameron. Just showing that backhand as much as he can, and then he goes around with the flick to Gatewood Wolf. Sam Cameron. Backhand finds a seam and hits Oscar Ellis for the goal.
Ellis's second goal. I believe this is Ellis's first European tournament, other than obviously going to the deep dish. Goodness me, I need some water. Deep dish tour. Thank you.
You got it out eventually.
About time. So you're going to be very, very pleased with that.
That's exciting. Fresh on the European competition scene. Also
a snub from the U24 cycle this year, which many would also say was a bit of a surprise. So, you know, these players have obviously got a name to put out for themselves, proved the selectors wrong. But that is a goal for Bropen all the same, and they were really patient with it then, able to just move it down and capitalise on a drop. They obviously are in a significant deficit, but I said very early on that it's just all about attitude, all about trying to enjoy it, trying to get the most of it, trying to take learnings from it. You know, going up against a tough opposition, it's a choice as to whether you bow down and say you're going to beat us, or whether you go, even if you are going to beat us, I'm going to do something about it and let it inspire me and you know, make me learn. Bristol have got a really, really fantastic leadership core that are kind of driving the bus behind the scenes. Molly Wedge, you know, taking on a hard task of coaching an open team. Does a really, really good job of kind of rallying the troops, motivating them, making them work hard, and they do kind of really listen and aspire to be the best.
Taquin with the disc. Looks to center. And Rogisat gets it in between De Ritter and Taquin. Now Betrancourt. And Rogisat back to Betrancourt. Hammer wind-up is put away. And sent. Nice catch. Betrancourt getting better with every second he is on the field. Taquin gets the goal. Belgium firing on all cylinders, and how's that celebration?
Yeah, even with a throw that's too floaty, they're still able to bring it down. 13-4. Not really much to say. I think this Bristol side have come in. They've set their expectations of what they're trying to do. I think when you go down early, it's difficult to recover, especially with the short games. And 4 points, unfortunately, just not enough at the moment.
Morgan Hibbert and the GAC both playing Ranelagh at London Invite. Is that legit, Hoagie? I do know the GAC will be there with Anna coaching the Crocs. He had asked to be on the Tokai Super Team. He was denied entry. Love the gack.
Well, Morgan Hibbert has played for Bristol Open in the past. Played for them at Tom Windmill last year. So potentially could be coming with Bropen. But from what I know of Bropen, they're very strict as to if you don't train with us.
They don't like letting good players play with them?
They're not following the trend of all European teams, let's say that. They want players to go to the weekly trainings and they want them to show up and not just come in as the token pickup.
Okay, so this is not legit transfer news. They're playing with us in the chats, Derbs.
It could be. It could be. Ooh.
Hammer. Gatewood Wolf underneath it. Space in the middle. Jacks it deep. Harry Mason gets to go. A great throw to get behind the last defender.
That's good from Bropen. That's what we wanted. You know, sometimes you just got to take a spicy option and it'll open up some space. Belgium have been doing the zone for the whole game, pretty much. And it's been quite handler containy with some space in the middle that Bropen have been able to find and move the disc through it. But they got to open some space somewhere else, as we see a little dish into the middle. That's Parnell there with the throw. Super nice. Mason just has a really nice read coming from the far sideline. You can watch the spacing here. Free in the middle. Mason probably on the right-hand side of your screen and just cuts across. And that is a lovely, lovely throw. You know, Bropen have got the skills. They've got everything in their toolbox that they need, but it's just clearly not come together in this game. But 13-5, they're probably, you know, I'm not going to lie, they're going to be disappointed and frustrated with that. However, there are positives to take away from it.
Yeah, most certainly. It has not been all bad, but they just have not been able to, you know, finish their offensive possessions. They're fielding a lot of poles, that's for sure. They're getting their offense moving in the right direction, more or less. They look all right, getting most of the way up the field. They're just not complete possessions. And the Belgian counterattack is potent. Boumalal to Ganat. Ganat goes all the way around and hits Lander de Kran. Boumalal. Far side, gives and goes. Tobe sends deep and hits a brilliant huck. Lands right in the hands of Emil Willems again.
It's nice to see Belgium play through other players other than, you know, their superstars. I think many would say going into that World Championships, whether they have the depth and the consistency. Obviously, if you're sending your superstars out all the time and they're constantly having to do big plays and big movements to get free and get Ds, whether they can do the whole week. But this is obviously showing that Belgium do have the depth. Even if De Crane ×2 isn't on, then they're still able to generate really, really nice Frisbee.
Lilliput versus France Masters coming up next. Make sure you stay locked on for that, as you will no doubt already have in mind.
Is that a France versus France game?
That is a France versus France.
Ah, oui, oui.
Hannah Pendlebury and Benji Reese on the call. I know they're stoked for this one.
All right, we see the blue line out. The D leaning line coming out on offense. But again, I think they are just rotating.
They don't look very blue to me.
Parnell's got a blue hat.
It's not enough.
No. I'm going to find out what blue means.
I'm enjoying your chats, everybody, as Bristol keeps the disc going. Capelli to Gatewood Wolf, and there is one of the other style icons out there, the Stykon. Pants, sleeveless, bucket hat, gloves. As Smurf inquires, are you warm or are you hot? Are you avoiding the sun or are you wanting the sun? Maybe a first Harry Mason experience indeed. Bontemps goes high. Nice sticky fingers by Prot. Prot inside. Bontemps fires, hits. And that's the game. Dominance by the Belgian under-24s. 15-5. They've cleaned up their pool all the way through. And they are just looking stronger with each new game.
Yeah, I think dominance is the word. We love Bropen. We know that they have got more than this, but this Belgium side are just able to really show some class out there on offense and on defense. They stuck with their zone. It was a pest for the Bropen offense. And then on defense and offense, they were just kind of relentless, able to take on many options and get many blocks. But Bropen not to be too disappointed. I think it was almost an inevitable loss. They would have liked it to be closer, but I think they can be proud of what they put out there. The offense that they did see when it went to plan was really, really good. They were patient, they were calm, but the errors were predominantly their own, and that when that happens, there's only so much you can do but recover and move on from it.
Takan and Boumalal showing the guns off. I know Boumalal's been in the gym a lot. Jeez, he's got some biceps there. Get 2 tickets to the gun show with Boumalal. And great coaching job as well. Iani and, of course, Coach Ine Lankrit. She's doing it in her Tokai Super Team shorts as Belgium under-24 solidify the win, undefeated through the groups. We'll see how these pre-quarters shape up, but Belgium will be getting the bye, and we'll see them directly into quarterfinals. Any final words there, Derbs?
I love you, Bropen, and I think you're great.
Well, sending love to her home club. They did a great job. I'm happy they were on stream and got their chance and a chance to watch back and tidy things up for the rest of their season. But for Amelia Durbin, I've been Stefan Rapazzo. Thanks for sticking with us here on ULTI.TV. We'll catch you next time.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, ultimate.
ULTI.TV.
Never heard. All I wanted was to be